Hello, good evening, and welcome to the 2022 National Football League schedule release show on the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page. Before I tell you about the NFL schedule release, please subscribe, like, and share the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page where you can not only see this stream, but also check out all the episodes that I upload to the Big Deep Podcast. Speaking of the Big Deep Podcast, you can just listen to the Big Deep Podcast on Spotify and Apple. So, it seems like every month the National Football League offers fans something to fulfill their hunger for football. And last month, of course, was the NFL draft, which was a big success in Las Vegas. Vegas, maybe not ratings wise, because there were a few quarterbacks taken in the early rounds, but this year, but tonight we've got the NFL release schedule release show, which means we know what teams to play each other in the 272 game regular season. The problem is we don't know when and where, and we don't know when teams play each other. So tonight, I will tell you about every team's schedule, division by division, tell you about primetime games, all these crazy games, revenge games, games that excite me, games that are sure to garner everyone's attention around the National Football League, because it seems like to me the 2022 season shaping up to be a memorable season. And with more great quarterback play than we've ever seen, more excitement, more drama. You've got quarterbacks changing plays. We have quarterbacks facing different teams. We've got wide receiver movement that I've never seen before. It is going to be crazy this year. It is going to be crazy. And we've wanted like, who's going to play who? If you read or heard all these rumors around the internet, maybe on Twitter, if anybody uses Twitter, now you would have seen rumors of when or where teams played, when teams played during the regular season. But tonight we actually find out when teams play this year. I mean, it is so exciting figuring out what's going to happen, because the luck of the schedule draw could have a huge influence, because if you get a lot of early home games, you could get off to a great start. Or for that matter, you've got a lot of difficult games, maybe middle, back half of the schedule. Your team might be a little fatigued, and we finally get to figure out all these schedules. Just backgammon. I thought these schedules would have come out by now. Come on. Oh man, trying to refresh the internet right now is going to be fun, especially because everybody's going to be doing the same thing. Figuring out what schedule take place. Well, we don't know exactly when every game is taking place right now. I mean, but what I can tell you is about the week one schedule, and I can't remember an opening night game with as many opening night games with as much excitement, with as much intrigue, and with maybe the most exciting quarterback and wide receiver in the game. How about opening night in Inglewood, the Buffalo Bills and the Los Angeles Rams from England. What a game to start off the 2022 season. Oddly enough, last postseason, this was my Super Bowl. I thought the Bills and Rams were going to play each other from the playoffs. And, if you saw Josh Allen play last postseason, I don't remember a quarterback playing that well and losing. He threw 9 touchdowns. 9. And lost a playoff game. 9? 9. 9! And lost? Oh, wait, because he played Patrick Mahomes. But to me, while he may not have the Super Bowl, the Lombardi title, Josh Allen is the most talented quarterback in football. And I think Buffalo can safely say the Bills have got their next Jim Kelly. And to me, Josh Allen might be better than Jim Kelly. And Jim Kelly was a dang good quarterback, particularly playing all those November, December, January games in bad weather. Josh Allen was tremendous. I mean, we all saw what Josh Allen did with negative wind chill against Bill Belichick. He only threw for 5 touchdowns. I mean, Josh Allen's so much fun. Stephon Diggs is a really good receiver. Gabriel Davis is a breakout the last 7 or 8 weeks of the season. Caught 4 touchdowns against the Kansas City Chiefs. 4 touchdowns. I might be picking up Gabe Davis in my fantasy or dynasty league this year because Gabe Davis has got a lot of potential. I think the Buffalo backfield is going to be very interesting this year, especially with James Cook in there. Of course, Devin Singletary, of course, in Buffalo, but the Bills are going to be out. And you look at Buffalo defensively this year, they drafted Kyrie Elam, the cornerback from Florida, also signed Von Miller, which seems like a match made in heaven because the Bills may not need Von Miller to stop the run, but if you could go get the other team's quarterback, it helps. Plus, Von Miller has got 2 Super Bowl rings, so he brings that championship experience. Plus, he'll know the Rams from spending the second half of last season in LA, so that could be a huge advantage. And then, of course, with LA. Let's see. Who is the best? I know wide receivers are not supposed to win the MVPs, but how good was Cooper Kupp last year? I mean, nobody could stop him. Nobody could stop him. Nobody could stop him. And in every big moment, Matthew Stafford went to Cooper Kupp. Look at the Super Bowl, whether Cooper Kupp was a receiver, blocker, or even runner on a play. Cooper Kupp was such a big play. It was such a huge influence to the Ram offense. There was no way you could put 2 guys, 3 guys, put the whole defense on him, and Cooper Kupp is still going to beat you. I mean, and of course, we all saw what Matthew Stafford did. Finally got to play for a winning team. Finally got to play for a talented team. And by George, he was amazing, especially in the 4th quarter. I don't think there was a better 4th quarter quarterback in football last year than Stafford. And yeah, he might have thrown 1 or 2, he might have thrown more interceptions than teams won, but I don't care about the interceptions. Sometimes I'd rather have a quarterback be aggressive, take a few gambles, than have a quarterback not throw interceptions but not make big plays. Because you're not going to win games. You're not going to win games with defense and running the ball. Now, you've got to put up points, particularly if you're facing a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, a Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson. So you're not going to win games just based on giving Derrick Henry, Dalvin Cook, or Jonathan Taylor the ball. So I can't wait to see this game. Plus, the last time these teams played in 2020, there was a very controversial thing where the Rams felt like they should have won the game at Orchard Park, so might be a little bit of a revenge game. And the Bills probably feel like they should have been in LA for the Super Bowl, so maybe they're thinking the Bills can start 2022 where they should have ended the 2021 season in LA. So I can't wait to see this game. There could be points galore, quarterbacks galore. Heck, there might even be a few celebrities. I mean, it seems like celebrities have been popping up at every sport event, whether it be the Miami Grand Prix, the Kentucky Derby, or any sporting event. It might be a few celebrities there. And it's not just Buffalo and LA won't be the only primetime week one primetime game. If you remember back to 2021, the Dallas Cowboys and Tampa Bay Bucks opened last year's NFL season. Well, guess what? They're going to open Sunday Night Football 2022 in Big D. And when Tom Brady retired, it looked like the Tampa Bay Bucks were in a quarterback pickle. But now Tom Brady's back. Of course, Bruce Arians is no longer the head coach. Todd Bowles is now the head coach in Tampa. But of course, Tom Brady Sunday night, you know he'll be rocking for that team at Jerry World. I mean, the Bucks still look ready to rumble. I mean, you wonder if Rob Gronkowski's going to be back. This year because he may or may not retire. I mean, Chris Godwin is coming off a torn ACL. Mike Evans is still catching touchdown passes and making big plays. So I think the Bucks are going to be fine this year. Tampa's the big favorite. If you asked me today and said which team am I the most confident in winning this division, I'm probably either picking Tampa or Buffalo because you look at the rest of the NFC South, it is. Ugh. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, yeah, Drake London and Kyle Pitts are really good young players. But Marcus Mariota seems to be prone and not really been a starter since leaving Nashville. Lord knows that James Winston can last with his injury history, especially coming off for torn ACL. And by the time this stream is over, the Panthers might officially have benched Sam Darnold, but that's going to be, and of course, America's team. So the Bucks Cowboys team is going to bring in massive ratings. The Cowboys always bring in big ratings, and I think a lot of people are going to be intrigued by what happens this year because the Cowboys have really lost some guys on both sides of the ball. Lionel Collins, the right tackle, is gone. Connor Williams are gone. Traded Amari Cooper. Cedric Wilson's in Miami. And Randy Gregory, key pass rushers in Denver. And to be honest, I didn't really like the Cowboys draft/free agency. I think the Cowboys have lost ground. Meanwhile, you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, team that added A.J. Brown, Davis from Georgia, and still have 2-1s next year. I feel like the Cowboys have got big holes. They still haven't replaced Amari Cooper. Yeah, I think CeeDee Lamb's a really good wide receiver, but Dak Prescott feels like a quarterback who needs help. Pat Mahomes can play without Tyreek Hill. Justin Herbert can play without an offensive line. Derek Carr can play without a number one wide receiver. But Dak Prescott needs a good offensive line, a good running game, a bunch of good weapons. I'm not sure he's got any of that this year because the Cowboys' offensive line's got an old. Ezekiel Elliott doesn't look like the same player, and the Cowboys may not have a true number one receiver at a time where the wide receiver positions becoming more and more important. So that team's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully it's as crazy, as entertaining as last year's opener was just up the road from me. And how about this treat to end the opening week of the 2022 season? You talk about revenge games, and it seems like there are one or two revenge games that attract the nation's attention. We all remember when Terrell Owens went back to Philadelphia after his abomination from the Eagles. We remember Brett Favre's odd Lambeau return. We remember, trying to think, Tom Brady playing in Foxborough last year. Well, this year there might not be a bigger revenge game than Russell Wilson going back to face Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, Seattle. Well, Denver, Seattle, Week 1 in the Great Northwest. Wow. I bet you Russell Wilson is circling that game right now in his Denver mansion. But I can't wait to see this game because, one, it's going to be odd seeing Russell Wilson wear orange and blue instead of green. Secondly, I feel like this game involves two franchises going in completely opposite directions. First, I look at the Denver Broncos. I think the Broncos are ascending. I think the Broncos are have gone all in. I feel like the Broncos realize we can't win with Teddy Bridgewater, we can't win with Drew Lock, and need not just a good quarterback, but a franchise quarterback. Because everybody said the Denver Broncos have got great tailbacks, good wide receivers, and a really good defense. Just need a quarterback. In steps Russell Wilson, who in many ways feels like Matthew Stafford from last year because, yeah, Russ won a Super Bowl, but that feels like that happened 10 years ago. And I mean, I look at what Russell Wilson did with, be honest, a less than stellar roster, and yet the Seahawks were always in the playoffs, and not just in the playoffs, but routinely winning games they had no business of winning. I mean, you remember the Blair Walsh game, but in like negative whatever degree weather, where the Seahawks somehow stole that game. I remember a couple playoff games where Russell Wilson literally won the game by himself. I feel like, in a way, Russell Wilson, for the first time in several years, has got a major chip on his shoulder because everybody is saying, did you win the Super Bowl? Did Pete Carroll and John Schneider build the team that won the Super Bowl? I feel like Russell Wilson is still in his prime. Quarterbacks are playing longer than ever. We know Russell Wilson is in immaculate shape, spends a lot of time, effort, and money and keep himself in great shape. And yeah, everybody's looking at his injury last year, but it wasn't a shoulder, it wasn't a knee, it wasn't an Achilles, it was a finger injury. So Russell Wilson is fine health-wise, hasn't really taken a lot of hits. And I feel like for the Broncos, this is an unbelievable move. Didn't really give up as much as you would think for a franchise quarterback. I feel like Russell Wilson's got several good years left. And a lot of people like Denver to not only make the playoffs, but or win the AFC West, maybe even reach the Super Bowl in Glendale next February. As for Denver's opponent, Seattle, whew. Does anybody remember the movie Sleepers in Seattle? Because I think Seattle's quarterbacks might be very sleepy this year. It's going to be odd not seeing Russell Wilson under center this year, but I understand why the Seahawks made the move. Even with Russ, the Seahawks are not winning the NFC West. I think the Seahawks realize they've spent way too many draft picks on guys and needed a reboot. It was either now or later, and they and feel like Seattle chose now. Secondly, I think Pete Carroll wants control. Pete Carroll wants to run the football and play good defense. He still believes that you can win it. You can win by playing good defense, running the ball, and controlling the line of scrimmage. But to me, we're going to see whether Pete Carroll can win without Russell Wilson because he didn't win in New England, didn't win in New York, and couldn't win consistently. Yeah, the Seahawks somehow beat the Saints in a crazy wildcard game several years ago, but I feel like Seattle is more banking on the future and hopefully getting Bryce Young or CJ Stroud in next year's draft than really going for this year. So I really like Denver in that game. I don't know what the spread is right now, but that's going to be interesting to see. That's going to be interesting and odd. Plus, with that being the first Monday night game, that's going to be Joe Buck and Troy Aikman's primetime debut for ESPN. So you know the nation's going to pay attention, not just a Russell Wilson revenge game, but Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are going to be making their debut, ESPN regular season debut. So a lot for everybody to digest. There'll be plenty of coffee being spilled in the Northwest that night. Okay, I believe the schedule's all officially out. So I figure with the LA Rams hosting the Super Bowl, we will look at the Rams schedule right now, and it looks spicy. Let's see. Based on last year's strength of schedule, LA has got the toughest schedule with a .56 with a opponent's winning percentage of 0.567, meaning the Rams have got a brutal schedule. Of course, if you look at LA this year, the Rams are playing in the NFC West, which is a very difficult division. Play the NFC West with potentially 4 playoff teams there. Yes, 4. Also get the NFC South and Buffalo. So the Rams open with 2 home games: Buffalo, Atlanta, at Arizona, at San Francisco, and then get Dallas and Carolina before before Week 7 bye week, and then how about this stretch? San Francisco, which Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers always give the Rams from, but 2 weeks to prepare for that game could help. At Tampa, Arizona, at New Orleans, at Kansas City. Oof. Where weather could be an issue week 11. Seattle, Las Vegas on a Thursday night, and then at Green Bay. So it's interesting. Week 14 is the Thursday week, but then the Rams get 11 days for Green Bay. So it is spicy, especially weeks 1, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, and 15. And then the Rams play Denver on Christmas Day before the Chargers game, which will be potentially a neutral in LA, and then finishing at Seattle. So, I mean, maybe Week 17 could be an away game for the Rams, but it's in the same stadium, so it's going to be a lot like when the Jets and Giants play at MetLife. The Chargers and Rams share the stadium in Inglewood. So the Rams schedule is going to be interesting. Earlier bye week. It's going to be interesting. See how the Rams fare. Then week 7 bye week. Oh, let's see. Arizona. I'm going through the NFC West right now. How about this for an opener if you're the Arizona Cardinals? You get the Kansas City Chiefs. Wow. How about Kyler Murray and Patrick Mahomes week 1? And then at Las Vegas. Woof. LA. And then at Carolina. And then the Battle of the Birds against Philadelphia. At Seattle. Play the Saints on a Thursday night. At Minnesota. Seattle. So it's interesting. Other than Carolina, the Cardinals have got all dome games because, and then at LA, San Francisco on a Monday night, Chargers, and then a bye. So the Cardinals got a fairly late bye again, and then not just a bye week, but then they host New England on a Monday night, so they've got 15 days. But then Denver on a short week, and Denver on a short week is never easy, particularly when you're a dome team and the Cardinals are not the same team. Late in the season and being cold weather. That is going to be a very difficult game. And then how about Tampa on Christmas night? Oof. And then at Atlanta and at San Francisco the close. So not a lot of bad weather games for the Cardinals, but week 14 and 15 will be dicey. Yeah, let's take a look at the Niners schedule. Believe the Niners. Oh, interesting. The Niners start with the Bears week 1, and then Seattle at Denver on a Sunday night, and the Rams on a Monday night, at Carolina, at Atlanta. Ooh, back-to-back East Coast trips, but they're early. Maybe we'll rebuild. Then they host the Chiefs in Santa Clara. At the Rams, bye, so week 9 bye. LA.
You still on?
LA, how about this stretch? I think that is the week 10 game. Yeah, that is the week 10 game. Yeah, I just remembered the 49ers Cardinals week. Let me see. Week 11 game is at Azteca, so that game is in Mexico City. So that altitude's going to be very interesting to see what happens. So LA, Arizona, Mexico, then the Saints, Miami, and Tampa. So 4 out of 5 at home, and then a neutral site game in Mexico. Tampa at Seattle on a short week's never going to be easy. Those two teams always play each other well. I mean, we'll see what happens out the 49ers always get like a week 15 Thursday night game. Then they get Washington on Christmas Eve at Las Vegas, and then Arizona. And then Seattle opens with Denver, and then at San Francisco, Atlanta, at Detroit, at the Saints, Arizona at home, at LA, Giants, at Arizona, Tampa. That game is in the Week 10 Tampa Seattle game is in Munich, Germany. So how about that game for Seattle? You flying not just to England, you're flying to Germany. So that's going to be a fun trip. Of course, the Seahawks lead the always usually lead the NFL in miles covered. They'll be adding that this year. And then after a week 11 bye, Vegas, at LA, Carolina, San Francisco. Ooh, at Kansas City on Christmas Eve is going to be interesting. New York and LA. So 2 road games to finish in what could be, well, a very interesting year for the Seahawks. Might be battling for the #1 pick. We'll see. Let's take a look at the AFC West. So everyone wants to know about Kansas City's schedule. Oof. At Arizona, LA on a short week. So the Chiefs get their Thursday night game out of the way early with the Chargers. At Indianapolis, at Tampa, before hosting the Raiders on a Monday night, and then Buffalo, week 6, at Arrowhead, and then at San Francisco. Ugh, that's a brutal stretch. Week 4, week 6, week 7, then a bye, and then Tennessee and Jacksonville, at LA. Then how about this stretch? At LA, then at the Chargers week 11, hosting the Rams week 12, at Cincinnati week 13, at the Chargers week 14, at the Broncos week 14, and at Houston week 15, before finishing with Seattle, Denver, and at the Raiders. Oof. I could think of an easier schedule. Than that. Now, the Raiders, who do they have? Well, the Raiders start with a trip in LA, rematch of the crazy Week 18 finale, this time in Inglewood, and then Arizona, at Tennessee, Denver, at Kansas City on Monday night before bye, and then Houston, at New Orleans, at Jacksonville, Indy, at Denver, at Seattle, home to the Chargers, before visiting the Rams on a Thursday night, at home to New England, at Pittsburgh on Christmas Eve night, before finishing with consecutive home games against the Niners and Chiefs. Okay, Bolt, so where are you guys going? Let's see. Vegas at Kansas City on the opening Thursday night, Jacksonville at Houston, at Cleveland, Denver on a Monday, Seattle, then a week 8 bye before Atlanta, San Francisco on a Sunday night, Kansas City, at Arizona, at Las Vegas, Miami, Tennessee, at Indianapolis on a Monday before LA and at Denver. So I think the Chargers get a few breaks. I mean, at Kansas City might look a little tricky week 2, but I'd rather play the Chiefs early where there won't be any weather concerns, or hopefully won't be any weather concerns. Same with Cleveland, where there could be bad weather in November, December, January. So I think the Chargers look out with some weather, but schedule's still not going to be easy. Ooh, what about Denver? I bet the Broncos have got a few primetime games. Oh, wait, they do. At Seattle on Monday night, Houston, San Francisco on a Sunday night, at Las Vegas, Indy on Thursday, at LA on a Monday, New York, and then playing the Jaguars at Wembley week 8 before week 9 bye, at Tennessee, Vegas, at Carolina, at Baltimore, then Kansas City, Arizona, at LA, at Kansas City, and then LA again. Oh, that is a nasty finish. Baltimore, Kansas City, Arizona. Oof. LA, Kansas City, LA. Yowza. I could think of an easier finish than that. So let's head to the AFC South. Who do the Tennessee Titans have this year? New York at Buffalo in one of the two Monday night games. Vegas at Indy at Washington, then a week 6 bye. Indianapolis again, so they're playing the Colts 2 out of 3 games with a bye and Washington between. Going to be pivotal this year in the AFC South. Then at Houston, at Kansas City, Denver, at Green Bay on a Thursday night. Oof. Might be a little cold for that game. Cincinnati, at Philly. Oof. Bet the A.J. Brown's got that game circled. Revenge game against the Eagles. Jacksonville, at LA, Houston. Oh, they play the Cowboys in a weird game December 29th. Well, that's going to be a weird schedule, Cole. And then at Jacksonville to close the regular season. Okay, let's check out the Colts schedule. At Houston, at Jacksonville, Kansas City, Tennessee, at Denver. Oof, at Denver on a short week is never fun. Then Jacksonville, at Tennessee. Well, a lot of division games this start. And then Washington, at New England, at Vegas, Eagles, Pittsburgh on a Monday night, at Dallas, and then a very late Week 14 bye. Before at Minnesota, LA on a Monday, at New York on New Year's Eve, and then Houston to finish. Speaking of Houston, let's see. Where the Texans are going this year. Indianapolis, at Denver, at Chicago, LA, at Jacksonville, bye at Las Vegas, Tennessee, Philadelphia on a short week, at the Giants, Washington, home to Miami, Cleveland, at Dallas, Battle of Texas there, then home to Kansas City, in Nashville against the Titans, host the Jags, and then finish at Indianapolis. Okay, where are my Jags going? Where are we going this year? By the way, I don't know, I didn't know all these schedules until looking them up right now. At Washington, Indianapolis, at LA, at Philly, Houston, at Indianapolis, New York, Denver, in London, Vegas, at Kansas City, bye, and then Baltimore at Detroit. So that might be it might be an Aiden Hutchinson revenge game against us. At Tennessee, home to Dallas. Then a primetime game is at New York, December week 16, and then at Houston. And then we host the Titans to finish the regular season. Interesting. So no bye week coming back for London. It's going to be fun. Let's head from Jacksonville to Tampa and talk the NFC South. Oof, this is going to be... How about this start? At Dallas, at New Orleans. I can think of an easier start. And then Green Bay, at least since at home, Kansas City, Falcons, at Pittsburgh, at Carolina, Baltimore, LA, Seattle, in Germany before Week 11 bye week, and then at Cleveland, New Orleans on a Monday night, and then at San Francisco, Cincinnati, at Arizona on Christmas night, Carolina, and then at Atlanta. Oof, that's going to be interesting. Hmm. At least Tampa's going to have, and the Baltimore game is on a Thursday night before a 10-day break with the Rams. So that's going to be very interesting. Let's take a look at the Saints. Guessing the Saints open with in Atlanta. Seemingly they open the season against either Tampa or Atlanta every year. So yeah, the Saints are in Atlanta week 1, and then get the Bucks at Carolina, Minnesota. I believe that is the London game this. I believe that is one of the London games this year. Yep, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And then Seattle, oof, coming back without a bye week is going to be interesting. Cincinnati at Arizona on Thursday night, Vegas, Baltimore on Monday, at Pittsburgh, LA, at San Francisco, oof, at Tampa, oof, and then a very late bye for the Saints before Atlanta, at Cleveland, oof, at Philly, oof. Home team playing back-to-back cold weather games during the holidays, and then Carolina in the Dome. Okay, how about the Carolina Panthers? Cleveland, at New York, New Orleans, Arizona, San Francisco, at LA, Tampa. So 5 out of 7 at home. And then at Atlanta, at Cincinnati, Atlanta on a Thursday night, at Baltimore, Denver, Week 13 bye, at Seattle, Pittsburgh, Detroit, at Tampa, at New Orleans. Now the 30 Birds. Okay, not the FGC 30 Birds, but the Atlanta Falcons. Where are all the Falcons going this year? New Orleans, at LA, at the Rams, at Seattle, Cleveland, at Tampa, New Orleans, at Joe Burrow and the Bengals, Carolina, Chargers, at Carolina on a Thursday night, the Bears, at Washington, Pittsburgh, Week 14 bye, at New Orleans, at Baltimore, finishing with Arizona and Tampa Bay. Yikes. That's going to be. I think it's time we head to the AFC North right now and check out last year's AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. Who did the Bengals play this year? Pittsburgh, at Dallas, at New York, Miami on a Thursday night. Then 10 days before a Raven trip week 5 at New Orleans. So 4 out of the first 6 on the road. And then Atlanta at Cleveland on a Monday, Carolina, then a week 10 bye, at Pittsburgh, at Tennessee, Kansas City, Cleveland at home, at Tampa, at New England, Buffalo on week 17 at home on a Monday, and then Baltimore the finish. Where do these Steelers go? I'm sure Steeler Nation's wondering where. Well, they started at Cincinnati. that beat Mitchell Trubisky or Kenny Pickett starting against Joe Burrow and the Bengals. And then New England at Cleveland on a Thursday. New York at Buffalo. Tampa at home week 6. At Miami. At Philly. Bye. Then in New Orleans, Cincinnati. At Indiana Monday night. Atlanta at Atlanta. Baltimore at Carolina. Vegas at Baltimore, New Year's Day, and Cleveland. So the Steelers and Ravens don't play each other until week 14. Interesting. Ravens play start at the Jets, Miami, at New England, Buffalo, Cincinnati, at the Giants. So the Ravens make a couple trips to MetLife. Cleveland, at Tampa, at New Orleans, and a week 10 bye. Carolina at Jacksonville. Hey, we host the Ravens. Denver at Pittsburgh. Oh, that's going to be brutal. At Cleveland. Oh, Atlanta. Pittsburgh. At Cincinnati. Oh, that's not easy. That is not an easy ending for the Ravens schedule. Okay, Browns, where are you going this year? Cleveland opens at Carolina. Jets, Steelers, Atlanta, LA, Chargers, New England, at Baltimore, Cincinnati on a Monday, then a week 9 bye, at Miami, at Buffalo, Tampa, at Houston, at Cincinnati, Baltimore, New Orleans, at Washington, at Pittsburgh. Yeah, these AFC North teams are gonna have fun the second in December and January, but that's probably what everybody would have wanted, right? Okay, the Green Bay Packers start the NFC North with a trip to Minnesota. The Bears. Why do the Bears and Packers always play a Sunday night football game, either like week 1 or week 2? Always happens. At Tampa, New England, Giants, and I believe that is another one of the London games. Yep, the Giants and Packers. The Green Bay Packers are finally playing a London game this year at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. EVM week 5, and then the Jets week 6. At Washington, at Buffalo, at Detroit, Dallas, Tennessee on a Thursday night, at Philly, at Chicago, then a late week 14 bye for the Packers. Packers always get an early or late bye. This year it's a late bye. And then they finish, and not only a late bye, but then a Monday night game in LA. So the Packers will get 15 days for the Rams at Miami on the Packers are in Miami on Christmas Day. And then finish with 2 home games against the Vikings and Lions. So, Minnesota, where are you Vikings going this year? Well, by process of elimination, they must be hosting the Packers. And then they go to Philadelphia in one of the 2 week 2 Monday Night Football games. Detroit, New Orleans in London, Chicago at Miami, then a week 7 bye. Arizona, at Washington, at Buffalo, Dallas, New England. So the Vikings host the Pats on Thanksgiving night. And then New York, at Detroit, Indianapolis, Giants, and then finish with back-to-back road games against the Packers and the Bears. And speaking of the Bears, let's see. The Bears open their 2022 season with a home game against the Niners, and then at Green Bay, Houston, at New York, at Minnesota, Washington on Thursday night, go to New England the following Monday, week 7, at Dallas, Miami, Detroit, at Atlanta, at New York, Green Bay, then a week 14 bye before home games with the Eagles and Buffalo Bills, road game against the Lions, and then a home game against Minnesota. And then the Detroit Lions. Excuse me. Thank you. Philadelphia, Washington, at Minnesota, Seattle, at New England, week 6 bye, at Dallas, Miami, Green Bay, at Chicago, at New York, host the Bills on Thanksgiving, Jacksonville, Minnesota, at New York, at Carolina, Bears, and then finish at Green Bay. And now it's the NFC East. Oh, hopefully it's the least of everybody's concerns this year. But let's see. Tampa, Cincinnati, at the Giants on Monday night. Washington, at LA, at Philadelphia, Detroit, Chicago, week 9 bye. At Green Bay, ooh, that'd be Mike McCarthy's revenge game. At Minnesota, then the Giants on Thanksgiving, then the Colts the following Sunday. So there's no Thursday game for the Cowboys this year. It's a Thursday Sunday slate, so get a week and a half before the Colts, and then Houston, at Jacksonville, Philadelphia, at Tennessee in that weird Thursday week 17 game, and then at Washington to finish the regular season. Let's see about the Eagles' schedule. Fly, Eagles fly. At Detroit, Minnesota in one of the week 2 Monday night games. At Washington, Jacksonville, at Arizona, Dallas, then a week 7 bye, Pittsburgh, Houston on Thursday night before a week 10 Monday night game against Washington, Colt, Indianapolis week 11, and host Green Bay, Tennessee, at the Giants, at the Bears, at the Cowboys. Ooh, 3 straight road games will be fun in December. Will be fun. Then the Saints and Giants. Where do the Washington Commanders go? Jacksonville, at Detroit, Philly, at Dallas, Tennessee, at the Bears on a Thursday night, Green Bay, at the Colts, Minnesota, at the Eagles, at the Texans, Atlanta, at the Giants, week 14 bye, Giants, at San Francisco, Cleveland, and then Dallas. So where did the Giants go this year? Will they start the season in Nashville against Tennessee before consecutive home games against the Panthers, Giants, then have another home game against the Bears, and then week 5 is the trip to London against Green Bay, at Baltimore, home to Baltimore, at Jacksonville, at Seattle, then a week 9 bye. Oh, the Giants are going to be racking up some air miles in the month of October. Then Houston, Detroit, at Dallas on Thanksgiving, Washington, Philly, at Washington, at Minnesota, Indianapolis, and at Philly. So a lot of divisional games to finish the 2022 season for the Giants. So Where will the Bills be circling the wagons this year? Get so they start the season with the opening night game against the Rams, host Tennessee in one of the Week 2 Monday night games, at Miami, at Baltimore, Pittsburgh, at Kansas City. The Bills always get a Week 7 bye. Like Buffalo's always getting a Week 7 bye. And then they host Green Bay the following Sunday at the Jets, Minnesota, Cleveland, at Detroit on Thanksgiving. Then the Bills and Pats play that weird Thursday slate, Week 13. And then the Jets, Miami, at the Bears, at Cincinnati, and then host New England. So, let's see where New England's going this year. I think the Pats open the season in Miami. That Bill Belichick's already getting that team ready for the Florida heat and humidity. At Pittsburgh, Baltimore, at Green Bay, Detroit, at Cleveland, Chicago on a Monday, at New York, Indianapolis in a Week 10 bye, then the Jets, then at Minnesota on Thanksgiving, Buffalo on the following Thursday, then at Arizona, at Las Vegas, Cincinnati, Miami, and then at Buffalo. I'm sure Alex wants me to check on the Dolphins. So where do my Alex's Dolphins go this year? Host New England, at Baltimore, Buffalo, at Cincinnati on Thursday, at the Jets, Minnesota, Pittsburgh on a Sunday night, at Detroit, at Chicago, Cleveland, bye, Houston, at San Francisco, at the Chargers, at Buffalo. Oh, that is going to be a brutal stretch in December. Green Bay on Christmas Day, at New England, and the Jets. Oh, Miami's got a bad stretch in December. But San Francisco, LA, and Buffalo, ooh, that is a nasty stretch. Then you get Green Bay, so Aaron Rodgers in what will probably be a dome for the Packers, and then at New England. Oh, where did the Jets go this year? Well, they host the Ravens at Cleveland, Cincinnati, at Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, at Green Bay, at Denver. Ugh. New England, Buffalo, Week 10 bye, at New England, Chicago, at Minnesota, at Buffalo, Detroit, Jacksonville on Thursday night, at Seattle, oof, at Miami, oof. Yeah. So, in terms of teams with the easiest strength of schedule based on last year's records, the LA Rams, Arizona Cardinals, Cincinnati Bengals, Tampa Bay Bucks have got the four hardest schedules, while the NFC East teams, the Giants, Eagles, Washington Commanders, and Dallas Cowboys have got the four easiest schedules. But, schedules can vary, records can vary, teams can change, and let me see if I can get I think I can get the schedule. I can get prime time. Oh, I've got primetime games this year. Oh boy. Let me see. I've got the Sunday night football game. So, for you Sunday night football fans, this year the Bills and Rams start off the season. Tampa and Dallas week 1. Bears, Packers week 2, Niners, Broncos week 3, Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs, Tom Brady and the Bucks week 4, Bengals, Ravens week 5, Dallas, Philly week 6, Pittsburgh, Miami week 7, Aaron Rodgers and the Pack, Josh Allen, the Bills week 8, week 9 is Tennessee, Kansas City, week 10, Chargers, Niners, week 11, Bengals, Steelers, then Thanksgiving night would be Pats, Vikings, before Green Bay and Philly play week 12, then Colts, Cowboys week 13, Chiefs, Broncos week 14, Patriots, Raiders week 15, then the Bucks, Cardinals on Christmas night, with Rams, Chargers week 17 on New Year's Day. Ooh, that is going to be very spicy. Ooh. There are many games that I want to see, but if I can only pick 5 games, I think week 1, Buffalo and LA is going to be a lot of fun. I already went into detail, but you could have a Super Bowl preview to open the season. Week 4, week 4 could be the last time we see Pat Mahomes and Kansas City take on Tom Brady and the Bucks. Tom Brady already retired. He's 45. Even though Tom Brady wants to play forever, one of these times going to be the passing of the torch from Brady to Mahomes. And the last time those two teams played in Tampa didn't go well for Mahomes. So, he'll be looking for revenge. And then, let me see if I've got week 6. How about Buffalo, Kansas City? The Bills are the Bills are sick and tired of playing at Arrowhead, and B, they're probably more sick and tired of losing to the Chiefs in the playoffs because Kansas City has knocked out Buffalo the last 2 years, and the Bills are probably thinking right now, we need to reach a Super Bowl. And then how about Kansas City stretch week 12 and week 13, playing both Super Bowl teams, hosting the Rams week 12, and then at Cincinnati week 13. That is going to be a brute of a schedule. And last but not least, you want revenge games this year? Well, I've got a few. Week 1, Russell Wilson at Seattle. Week 10, Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys go to Green Bay. And week 13, A.J. Brown faces his old team, the Eagles, hosting Tennessee Titans. He might want like 500 balls. You remember Randy Moss, like, give me the dang ball? Well, he might tell Jalen Hurts, give me the bleeping ball that day, because I know what Tennessee's going to run against me every single game. It is going to be fun to see. I can't believe the schedule has been released. It's going to be a crazy 2022 season. Just think, it is May 12th, 4 months from now, we'll be talking Bills, Rams, and Eagles. So thanks for tuning in. I can't believe it's lasted this long, but I felt like I needed to do a long stream with the schedule release happened tonight, so I'm glad this happened. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, check out the Big D podcast, which will be uploaded to the Spunky Spectrum Sports YouTube page for all my episodes. Hopefully we've got some more football, PGA Championship content, and maybe even some special videos throughout the month of May. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later.